Parker Berg has it. Stretch pass. Here's Aremba over the line. On the left side, centers it in front. Vallis scores! Boria Vallis on a centering pass from Sam Aremba. Here come the Pats with numbers. Boria Vallis over the line. At the right side, centers it. Backhander scores! Tanner Howe! And the captain strikes. Roof Daddy Tanner Howe, his 21st of the season. Across the Berg. Into the high slot, he loads up, over to Howe, up top, one-timer, scores! Boria Vallis! 13th of the season for Boria Vallis. He goes top corner on the 5-on-3 power play. Whitehead behind the Moose Jaw net for Regina. Finds Howe in the high slot. He can't get a shot away. Now to Brinson, he shoots, scores! Jaron Brinson with his first as a Regina Pat. Happy New Year, everybody. The Pats are off and running. Here's Ty Spencer, left circle, shoots, he scores! Tanner Howe fed it across and Ty Spencer spun and fired it 5-hole.
Welcome to Patscast, the unofficial Regina Pats podcast. It's January 2nd, 2024. It's episode 158. I got Kevin over there, Chris here. How we doing, Kevin?
Pretty good. It's good to be in a new year. Hopefully that brings some good stuff for everybody. 2023 was not the greatest year for me, but this last couple of days has been interesting in Patland, which is something worth talking about.
Yeah, we got lots to talk about tonight. Not just on ice stuff, obviously, but yeah, it's good to have lots of stuff to talk about, right? Not just
lots,
right? Not just ramble on about some games that
4 games. 4 trades, lots of stuff to go, lots and lots.
Yeah, I think we'll just kind of skim through these games. We don't, it was a tough stretch for the team there, and we kind of, I don't know if we hit the nail on the head or whatever, but we kind of mentioned, well, these first few games out of the break could really give the team its direction or tell Alan Millar which way this team is going, and I know Matt, the old co-host, said you guys might have nailed it, a couple losses and then all of a sudden trades, right?
Yeah, but I'm sure Al already had stuff in mind. I don't know if the trades came together over time or whatever. From the sounds of it, one of them came real quick.
Yeah,
but I think he had an idea of what he was going to do.
I think so,
and. Well, when we get to that, we'll have more thoughts on that.
Yeah. He mentioned it even at the start of the year, right? Kind of his thoughts on things. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess we'll touch on these games. Brandon Moose Jaw, twice each. There was the first game in Brandon. I mean, the story of the game is really you blow a 3-1 lead in the third period.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch. That's all I got to say is ouch in that one.
And, I mean, yeah, you got a point. Another loser point, but you need 2 points to make any ground on these teams.
Yeah. But Brandon's been playing really well lately, so can't take anything away from them.
No, that's for sure. Nice to see Spencer. He got a couple of goals in this little stretch game tires real late. Yeah. This one and the last game with Moose Jaw here in town. Nice to see him finally getting some consistency going, I think.
Yeah, maybe get up the schneid and
just get rolling with it.
Yeah, needs to score now that he's one of the number 119s. He's got to step up.
Yeah, and I know, not jumping ahead to the Moose Jaw game, but he hit the post, I think, later in that game, and in the replay kind of zoomed in on him. He was just like, F. He just he was just like, right, and then that was before he scored the tying goal. But that game I had written down kind of like it was all Brandon in the start of the game, and they kind of dominated, but the Pats held on, scored some goals, but they just couldn't hang on to the lead.
Yeah, they showed resiliency. They got the lead, and it just, I don't know, something happened. Third period, just the shorthanded goal by Mateo kind of got the ball rolling for Brandon in the third, and it is what it is.
He likes playing Regina now.
All 3 goals he scored with Brandon have been against
bit
the
against
Pats.
Pats. Yeah. Yeah. But
If he played every game against the Pats, he'd have a whole ton of goals.
yeah. Yeah, so one thing we talked about last actual episode, not our first half recap, but we talked about Kristanovic possibly getting suspended for that spear, I guess, that he dished out. And yeah, he got 1 game for that, unfortunately. So
Yeah.
he sat in that Brandon game. But yeah, it's tough. Out of the break, you really could have used a win there against Brandon. I mean, they were only missing Danielson.
Yeah.
Would have been nice to get that win.
Yeah,
Even
for
if it
sure.
was in overtime. That's another thing. They haven't been able to.
They can't finish in overtime.
Yeah, they just yeah. I know. Spencer talked about that. I've got a little clip of him after the Moose Jaw game here, and he said, "Yeah, we've got to change something up in overtime because whatever we're doing right now, it's not working. So maybe we're too passive. Maybe we got to be a little more aggressive because what we're doing right now isn't working in overtime." And again, not to jump ahead to the Moose Jaw one, but they had some good chances.
Oh yeah,
on the Monday game. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then you go to Moose Jaw, and I think Furcus was still there, right? So they were only missing a couple guys.
Yeah,
and
he had 3 assists.
Yeah, right. He's just quietly puts up points.
Yeah,
yeah. But this game, yeah, I don't know. I didn't watch a ton of this game, but you're down 3-0. You try to make a valiant comeback again in the third.
But if they could have scored some goals in the first, yeah. I don't know how many shots they actually had. Like, I don't think they had 21 shots, to be honest.
Yeah,
Scorekeeper said they had 21.
Lot.
They did have quite a few, but if they could have buried a couple, it would have been a totally different outcome. But they just couldn't. They couldn't get one, and yeah, it came back, and they just couldn't come back. No.
Yeah. Speaking of resiliency, it seems like this team does have a lot of it. Like, you look at that game, they're down 3-0, they make it 3-2. The next game against Brandon, they're down 2-0 right off the hop, but they get that back, right? And then in the Moose Jaw game, they're down 2 late, they tie it up.
Yeah.
And then they're getting to overtime where a couple years ago they were finding ways to lose a game and not even make it to overtime.
Just before overtime.
Yeah, and then miss the playoffs by 2 points, right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if this team's going to make the playoffs or not. It's really touch and go right now, but
well, they're only a handful right now, but
yeah, they're close.
They need to, if they go on a streak, one way or the other. That's
yeah.
If they just continue getting 1 point here, 1 point there, it's not going to help them.
No, they need.
If they want to make the playoffs, they got to get wins. They got to figure out how to win.
Yeah.
With what they've got now, after all the deals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And like you said, they're resilient, but they need to find
some more.
The cohesion with the guys need to step up a little bit more if they can. And we have to learn about the new guys and see what they can bring to the table. So
definitely. Yeah, and then Brandon here on Friday night, I missed this game, but I was heading out, or I was in the car, and I turned it on. It was 2 minutes in, and they were talking about the second goal, and I was just like, "Pardon?"
Yeah. Though that was rough. Michael's chipping in, getting the break and chipping it over top of Mulaka, and then Rorsma one-timing it on the power play. Mulaka had no chance in either one of those goals, and the Pats battled back to tie it.
Yeah,
but a late first period goal almost seemed like it kind of set them back. Okay. They were going, and then all of a sudden it just kind of took the wind out of their sails. That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, right. Like, they tied up late in the period, so you're thinking, okay, a minute and a half to go and 2.5 to go in the period, and you're thinking, okay, yeah, we tied this up, we'll go to the break even, right? But then, like you said, Brandon gets on with less than a minute to go in the period, and those late ones always hurt, right?
Yeah, that took the wind out of the sails.
Yeah, and then nothing
To me anyway. Like
Yeah.
they had a little bit of a push later, but they only had like 13 shots or something like that. Oh, sorry, 17 shots in the last two periods.
Yeah.
You're not going to score a ton of goals doing that. But,
Yeah, and then Brennan gets a couple in the third, and then it was just too little, too late with Vaughn's goal. So
yeah,
but Milwaukee, his first start as a Pat
at home.
at home. What did you think?
I don't know if he was nervous, but it looked like he was nervous on a few of the shots. The fifth goal, I guarantee, like he wants third, fourth, goals are goals. But the fifth one, the guy just like ripped it by him. Yeah, it was unfortunate. I'm sure he wants that one back, but I thought he played pretty well for only his fifth actual game of the season, AAA or here. I think he played pretty well. Got to give him props for. He made some good saves, but
he
needs
didn't
to
lose
play
in the game, right?
No,
It's not like he looked way out of place.
no, he wasn't getting lit up or anything like that. He was good. I think he was perfectly fine. But like I said, he's only played 5 games total this year. So
Yeah, 2 power play goals. That's tough. But the power play or the penalty kill was real hot. I think it was 24 of 25 heading into that game, or maybe the game before.
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I had written it down. 24 out of 25.
They were they were like 86% or something going into that game in December. And then that happened, 2 for 4.
And then Moose Jaw happened, and it was 3 for 3.
3 for 3.
Yeah. But
ouchie.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, Milwaukee. He's probably not going to be here once UA gets back. Alan Millar mentioned that he is an AP, so he will be going back to AAA and hopefully getting some
or wherever they assign him.
Yeah,
he
maybe
might end
goes
up
to Junior A.
Junior A. Like I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I guess we'll find out by the 10th because he's got to get the roster down to 25, like he said.
Yeah, and UA will be on his way home now, right? So
yeah, he should be on his way back. Maybe for this weekend.
Maybe, yeah.
And apparently during one of the broadcasts a couple games ago, Al said he's not going to trade any 18-year-olds. So looks like we're going to be with Huey and Pine unless something happens between now and the 10th. We're going to have Huey and Pine as a goaltending duo still.
Yeah, he mentioned that in today's media availability. He was listening to all 19s and 20s. So, I mean,
he's not trading 18s. So,
yeah.
So for those people out there that want Tanner Howe traded, it's not happening
this year.
So get over it.
Yeah, I mean,
he's the captain. He's going to be the captain for the rest of the year. He got his 200th point with the Pats, 61st player in history to do so. He's going to finish out the year here. He's probably going to score another 15, 20, 25 goals. He's going to have a good rest of the season, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. And just get some new guys in here. Maybe find some chemistry with some new guys, or they try to maybe keep him steady with guys that they have now. Like Vallis is gone, so maybe it's going to be more him and Spencer now. Like we said, he's kind of getting on a roll finally.
Yeah.
So
hopefully he can stay consistent. Same with Sam Aremba. He's been playing well. He's picking up. He's averaging over a point per game in the last 10 or 11 games. Just needs to find consistency. Just every game effort all the way through for those guys. So it'll be the Pats have proven they can win, but with all these rumored trades with Swift Current and Moose Jaw, it's going to get a little tougher. But they're giving battles to these teams, so if they can pull off some W's against these teams, win games they need to win, like against Edmonton, kind of games, be nice.
Yeah, you said Sam Aremba. Yeah, he's got 13 points in his last 12 games, and that's what you like to see, right? Instead of having 5 zeros in a row, like we talked about with Drew there, you can't expect a goal every game or anything, but some good efforts and an assist here, assist there keeps that confidence up. Yeah,
and consistency, no matter who it is, just get consistent.
Yeah.
Goals, assists, just the play, overall play. Just don't be lax. Don't be lollygagging it out there. Like actual play hard.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they're going to have to do that because the new guys, they're not bringing a ton of offense in yet at this level.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to find more. These other guys like Spencer and Aremba and even Howe, they're going to have to find another step to improve their output.
Yeah.
And
Whitehead, like
and Whitehead too. Yeah.
Yeah. He's those key guys, right?
He's got to start putting the puck at the net and in the net. He's getting the assists. He just needs to put the puck in at and in the net. 1 goal since he's been back. He's got 9 assists or something like that, but only 1 goal.
1 goal, yeah. I think he had the shootout goal as well, didn't he? As well.
Yeah, but he needs to get the guys got to get the puck on the net. You can't have games where there's guys with 1 or 2 shots every game. You need to have guys step up and get 6, 7 shots.
Mm-hmm.
Bad shots.
Chances.
Bad shots lead to chances.
You
Goalies in this level.
If you're watching Team Canada game, you look at a Team Canada game, you're watching that. Any shot of net could score, right? It goes off a stick, it in.
Yeah, exactly. Off a stick, off a leg, off of whatever in.
Yeah. Canada dominated. I don't get off topic here, but Canada dominated for 40 minutes and they couldn't score.
The last half.
They didn't hit the net. They missed the net how many times? And then
you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
Wayne Gretzky.
And you miss 100% of the shots that don't hit the net either, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But
if you see at this level, goalies consistently have sub 900 save percentages. Throw the puck at the net.
Yeah.
There are bound to be rebounds. Get guys going to the net. You have at least you have opportunities. Maybe you don't score, but you have opportunities.
Yeah. A lot of times there's too much passing. Like guys just
too fancy.
Trying to get too fancy, thinking the goalie's going to make every save, and it's got to be the perfect shot. So they try to set it up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. A little bit. You can do that on the power play a little more, right? But when it's 5-on-5 and you're in transition and you're on the rush, you got to get shots on the net, right? I think
100%.
Especially
that was one of Canada's problems too. They were trying to be too fancy. They weren't shooting the high quality shots.
Yeah. And I think Haroff probably brings that to them, saying, hey, like he mentions it, like this is a meat and potatoes kind of team. Like he probably wants to see more of that, right? Like
gotta bring your lunch buckets to work.
Yeah, right. And I think and Miller mentioned that today. He's like, I like this team identity. I like how they're working and playing. It's just, yes, they do lack some high-end skill, right? So it's a work in progress, but he likes how they play.
But now that he's put his stamp on it, now the deadline's not done yet, so there still might be moves we don't know about that Al may not know about yet, because there's still 9 days from today.
Yeah,
lots of stuff can still happen.
Exactly, and I think
8 days from today, or whatever.
Maybe even the passion he brings off the ice may
the fire. I wanted to run through a brick wall for that guy last night.
Yeah, he got fired up there.
He was fired up. I loved it.
That no goal could have been a turning point in that game.
Yeah,
like the Pats could have just folded their tent up, and I asked Spencer about that, and he's like, "No, nobody got down," and it shows because they came back and still scored 2 goals to tie the game up. But yeah, Alan Miller and some of the Pats staff, they were pretty fired up about that no goal call.
Al was fired up I couldn't it's the first time all season. Like he's been up there a lot in the Pats management part, and never heard him. Last night or yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening, he was fired up. I loved it.
I can't blame the guy either, because that should have been a good goal. Like I asked Haroff about it, and he said it was goalie interference, which that's pretty. Yeah.
I think the puck was going to go in the net anyways. So what?
So I don't know. Like somebody thought, well, it was a kicking. It kicked it in. Like clearly, kicked his foot at it, but it's out of the crease, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So I don't know what the actual reasoning was. Like. I don't know, but it didn't phase them, right? They kept on it, but yeah, I think Miller's invested in this team for sure already, right?
It was unbelievable. I was so pumped. I'm even pumped right now.
Thinking
I
about
don't
it, yeah.
just how passionate he was, how on fire he was.
Even,
The Pat slogan is ignite or whatever it is. He was ignited last night. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even on that power play when the center lost the draw, he was pretty disappointed in that.
Oh yeah. It was great.
Yeah.
I said, the whole season he's been up there pretty much he's missed a couple games upstairs. But pretty much every other game he's been up there hasn't been much noise or anything in the area. But last night it was awesome. Yeah. I was so pumped. It made me happy. It makes me happy. Yeah,
no, for sure. So good to see that. And he said he wants to be here to build a team, right? He wants to do the thing, not just, not the Hockey Canada thing where you're just throwing teams together. He wants to build a team.
He wants to do this right.
So that's a great transition into what he's done here in the last few days. So I guess we'll start right off the top. Harper Lulker from Moose Jaw. I mean, I think that's just kind of a depth move. Conditional 7th, didn't give up much.
But he was playing top 6 minutes. The kid's got some speed. He doesn't have a ton of points in his career. He had 11 goals last year, so he can score at this level. I guess just needs to get into the groove of things here. And I think he could be a pretty good steal.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't noticed him a bunch, so I don't have much to say about him, but I mean, he's got some speed, he's got some size, 6 foot, and that's what Miller's looking for. Size.
Yeah, a little bit bigger guys, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah. I mean, it's kind of just a depth move. Yeah, he only has 1 goal this season in 28 games, so a little disappointing, I think, maybe from the Moose Jaw side, right?
But he's look at who he's playing on a team with. Furcus and Jaeger. Those guys probably play 25, 30 minutes a game, so
yeah,
he's probably only played maybe 10 minutes a game at the most, kind of thing. So,
but he played with them last year too, right?
But he had 11 goals last year.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
So
11 in 60 is a 16, right? Or is it 17? Yeah, 17.
17 last year.
Yeah. So, yeah, interesting. I mean, it'll all shake out in the end here. We'll see.
Oh yeah, because they still have a few extra bodies around, so there's still a few things to tweak.
Yeah, they're pretty full. They're basically at their 25-man limit, and that's a little much. You don't want to be carrying 25 guys.
Yeah, unless there's injuries or whatever like that. But yeah, just a few too many bodies for now.
Yeah. Then the next deal, Parker Berg.
The next day was a gong show.
Yeah, the next day was a gong show. Wow. Yeah. So started off the day with Parker Berg.
I didn't expect it.
This one?
It all to go down. I didn't expect all this stuff to go down
in one day.
With 1 hour, and then the next hour, and then the next hour. It's like, bam, bam, bam. It was like, holy smokes.
Yeah.
Like Dante would say, holy smokes.
Yeah. So not too surprised by this trade. We kind of mentioned it. It'd probably, one of your best assets to move, your best return on the roster or on the team. But yeah, so we seen a little bit of Ty Gibson here on Monday, and Miller kind of alluded to it. He slots right into Berg's old spot, and you can see he's got a little bit of skill. I mean, his stats aren't great this year, only a couple goals.
Everett's defense doesn't get a lot of points either, so I don't know if that's just the way they set up or whatever. Like their top scoring defenseman had 18 points or has 18 points before Berg get there. So
yeah, so I mean they I don't know what their goals for, goals against are this year, but Everett's usually pretty low scoring, low goals against type team.
They're very stingy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, he's only got 2 goals in 38 games. He had 6 last year in 66. So
yeah,
I mean, not a ton, but
he's going to get more of an opportunity here. I think he's going to be running power play 1. He looked really well doing that.
Already doing that.
Yeah, first game he was ripping around there. No practice or anything like that.
No.
I thought he did really well.
Yeah, so to get him
and a second round in 2025. that was a really good trade.
Yeah, a second rounder for Berg. That's
All the best to Berg on his journey now. Everett,
Yeah.
maybe hopefully they do a decent playoff run for him.
Yeah, like he was a great Pat, right?
He's my profile picture on X, formerly Twitter. So it's him and I getting. I got his jersey last year, so
Yeah,
I'm not
cancer
changing
one,
it. I'm not changing it till the end of the year. So
Yeah.
hopefully he does something good this year. Has a chance to have a nice playoff run or whatever.
Yeah,
Turn it
just
into
nice.
some sort of pro contract or whatever if he goes to school.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. No, it was just good to see his growth this year. Like
He was so good. He was so
just to get that opportunity finally this year, like he had to sit behind, some guys, but he made the most of it this year, and it was great to see. You always like to see these guys grow, like on the ice, right? So
100%. And like they talk about the unsung heroes and stuff like that. Like he was getting points, tons of points, but he was legitimately the Pats' unsung hero, maybe even the MVP. Like you kind of throw them all together because people don't think of Berg. He scored a hat trick this year, the first one since Mahura.
Yeah.
So, by a defenseman, like it's unbelievable how he went from being kind of like the fourth, fifth guy last year because that they had the 220s in disposal to being the top guy, and he ran with it. I'm glad he was awesome. He was a good Pat. No, I'm glad he was a Pat for as long as he was.
Yeah, definitely. And I think maybe Gibson, nothing against him or anything, but it's tough. Like we've mentioned it a few times, having these 320s, and obviously when you move a 20, most likely you're gonna have to take a 20 back. And, the one spot Prince George they had a 20 open, but they ended up picking up Paul's, right?
Chase Paul's,
from Lethbridge. So that was like the one spot. Oh, maybe if they can move Berg to Prince George, you won't have to take a 20 back, right? It would be a little more ideal.
Yeah, for sure.
But it is what it is.
But hey, so far with no practice, played one game.
I like what he brings to the table.
Good. I like it. I like it. So
for sure. I mean, you don't want to
totally
punt on this season, right?
Yeah, for sure. And he's definitely not the biggest guy, but he probably weighs as much as Berg did because Berg wasn't a very heavy guy. So
5'9", 185. So not the biggest guy, but
so he's basically the same size as Slaney.
Yeah. And then the next one was the bombshell.
Then the bombshell.
Like I thought this was out of the question. Like I thought this was lost
100%. But when I saw Saskatoon Blades tweet, we have a big announcement or whatever. I think it's a big announcement coming in a hashtag all caps. I was like, Suzdalev's going to Saskatoon. I was like, no way. How is this even possible? I thought I was writing the Suzdalev thing off as soon as he got sent to Europe in Sweden there or whatever. I was like, they're done. He's not there.
Yeah, it's
lost
over.
him for nothing. He's gone.
Yeah,
totally. And then this happens. Mind blown. I something for nothing.
A lot for nothing, not
a
something,
lot, but something for nothing that turned into a lot for nothing, which is unbelievable.
This is kind of what we were hoping when he came. Like we were kind of hoping to come back because if the team doesn't who knows what.
If the team was struggling, then they could have traded him for some assets.
And
wasn't even here, and they traded him for assets.
Yeah, right. Would have been nice to see him back here playing because bring that skill and the goal scoring ability. Maybe this team is got 3 or 4 more wins, right? An overtime win or 2.
He's a very skilled player, but I don't think he really is a lunch bucket type player. He doesn't fit the mold of what this Pats team is.
And not everybody will do that.
Of course not, but I think with what Millar's been doing, he's been getting these type of players.
Yeah.
His style.
Yeah. And like we said, he's a top 6 guy only, right? Like, and it sounds like he wasn't getting much ice time in Sweden either.
No,
and
only 3 points in 13 games there.
Yeah, and so Millar
apparently wasn't playing power play or anything like that either. Okay. So,
and so Millar mentioned that he had contact with Washington before Christmas, and Washington agreed that he needed more ice time, and obviously that's a place here in the WHL would be one of those spots for him to get a lot more ice time, and Washington, he said Washington would like him to be playing on a contender, and
Yeah.
if a trade could be worked out, it would be worked out. But he did say if they weren't happy with a trade, or the return on a trade, a potential trade, that they would have been okay with him back in Regina. So
Wild.
that
would have been wild.
definitely. So,
But then I saw the return for this trade, and I was shocked at what Millar was able to get from Saskatoon. Shocked, absolutely shocked.
yeah. So I'll run down the list here. You got a first in 2026, a third in 2026, a fourth in 2025, and then 2 signed players: Zach Moore, 2006, and Sam Barsik, the import defenseman, 2005, and then you get a Dayton Deschamps, a defenseman, 2007, but he's unsigned. So potential there, So 2 bodies for sure, potentially 3, and 3 picks.
So like a 6-for-1 trade.
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, Saskatoon's
mind blown. My
Saskatoon's all in, right? Like we were discussing this before we came on. They're starting to take a step away from the pack here in the East.
Yeah, points in the last 13 games.
Yeah, they're 7 points up on Medicine Hat now, so that's a pretty big gap. Like you look at the West comparative, Prince George is 3 up on Wenatchee, right? That's it, and then Prince George, Victoria, and Everett are right behind Wenatchee at 48 points, 1 point back. So West is tight. The East is starting to string out a bit.
Yeah, it's starting to shape up a little bit, and I don't think Saskatoon be done either, because if Molendyk's out for a few weeks on defense, they're gonna probably want to bolster their defense somehow.
Yeah.
So they don't allow a ton of goals, but it would be, I'm sure they would probably want to add another piece on defense. Their top six is probably one of the best top 6s in the league.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of rumors floating around there, the interwebs, about potential trades, especially with World Junior guys. So we'll see that maybe come to fruition here.
Moose Jaw and Swift. And maybe Brandon.
Swift being in on these guys is kind of interesting. Exactly. They're hanging around in 6th place, 40 points. 5th.
Well, they got that defenseman today, your chick or whatever his name is.
Yeah, they pull a World Junior player out of not nowhere, but
almost out of thin air.
Yeah. So, and Swift, it's hard to recruit to Swift, right? That's a tough. I know they really struggle recruiting guys there. So
yeah,
that's a good addition for them for free, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, we'll see what shakes out in the next couple of days. Maybe have a little more WHL talk here coming up even before the trade deadline, because the trade deadline's not till the 10th, so next Wednesday.
I was thinking we were going to have like a trade deadline special, but this is basically turning into it because of what happened on Sunday.
No doubt. And Millar alluded to, maybe not much else happening, but you never say never. Like he did allude to a couple of these deals coming together quick.
There's still 8 days.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I don't think he's probably not looking to do a ton more, right? So, but you never know.
Yeah, never know. Yeah, exactly.
You never know who comes calling.
Someone comes calling and offers something for something. You might want to take it.
Definitely.
And back to the trade. Moore played his first game. Barsik was sick, so he didn't play on New Year's Day. But Moore was playing on the top line. He looked fine for not practicing or anything like that. He's got some wheels. Looks like he's got a little bit of offensive skill. Hasn't translated to the league yet, but hey, former second round pick.
Yeah, like nothing to sneeze at. Like, yeah, he's only 17.
Yeah. Trying to play on Saskatoon, where they've already got their top 6 even before they got Suzdalev. It's kind of hard to get time and minutes and opportunities.
Yeah, he'll be playing way down the lineup, right? So that's what happens in these trades. You pick up a young guy with potential for top end guys, right?
Yeah. And he was a second round pick, so
yeah, like
there is something there.
37 games in his career, right? So
yeah. So he's brand new.
27 this year, so pretty raw rookie.
Yeah.
I don't know what his minor stats were like, but just taking a quick look here. Being a second-round pick, he probably had some decent stats. Okay, with contacts, he had 27 goals in 36 games. And the year before that, 22 goals in 41 games. So
there is some offense there.
yeah, so as a 15 in AAA, he had 22 goals in 41 games. Like that's not bad at all. And then as a 16, he had 27 and 36.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's definitely some potential there, right?
For sure.
So, but that's what you like to see, right? You know, young potential, skill, right? This team needs some skill.
And getting something for nothing.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
that trade blew my mind. Just like, oof,
oh yeah,
right?
100%.
So then, obviously, with them picking up Suzdalev an import, they have to move an import in Barsic. I'm not really too sure what he brings.
He's biggish. He's a right-handed shot defenseman, just like Gibson. So that's something the Pats only had one of with Bridgman. So now they've got 3 right-handed shooting defensemen. So it'll balance everything out now. Got
yeah.
3 righties. What do they have now? 5 lefties?
Yeah, everybody else.
Whatever they've got right now. Yeah. So it'll balance things out.
Yeah, and he kind of, like, we'll see how it plays out with the 2 imports next year, but I know they're pretty high on Solberg, whether or not he comes over or they make a decision. But Barca kind of bridges that gap because you got Brinson next year as a 20, potentially. Barsic is a 19, and then you got a lot of 18s next year. Vaughn, Bridgman, Kristinovich, and the other new guy, how is it?
Buchkowski. Or Bukowski, depending on who you listen to.
Yeah. So
like Stutstilev.
Yeah, so leading into him, he was a first-round pick from Prince George.
Just when I thought the day was done, this next trade happens. The whole Borja Ballas trade.
Yeah.
Blown. My mind was blown with the Suzdalev trade. I was trying to figure out what was going on, trying to update all my registers and stuff, my historical registers, and all of a sudden, boom, another trade.
One.
Like, what? No way.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Another guy that we kind of pointed out is like one of your better trade chips. Like, he's on a hot streak.
He was on a huge hot streak.
Right? Like, you see the skill on him, and he's finally, he struggled out of the gate this year, but now he's kind of catching fire. And he's a guy that could really probably help Prince George. Not that they need more help scoring
They don't
goals.
need much more, but
hey, more's more, right? You're not going to say
100%, yeah.
No to more. Like, what does Prince George have? They have 163 goals for. Well, that's behind Portland at 168. So those are the top 2 scoring teams.
Yeah.
And they only give up 98 goals, Prince George. That's second to Saskatoon's 91. So they score a lot and they don't give up a lot. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, I mean,
they
probably got a pretty solid top 9 now, Prince George.
Oh, for sure. I don't know where he'll slot in there, but yeah,
no.
he'll be in there. He'll be he'll be hopeful, I'm sure.
I think he's a guy that could really finish with playing with a guy like Riley Height, something like that can set guys up, and he's a good finisher, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that was a
the
busy
return was unbelievable. A former first round Buchkowski, a 17-year-old defenseman from Saskatoon, where his dad played, a 3rd and 26 and a 4th and 24.
Yeah.
So like unbelievable. Turned a 19-year-old list player.
As I say, a list guy.
Who was on fire. He had, I think, points in 10 straight or 11 straight? 10, I think. Turn him into a former first rounder, a 3rd and a 4th. Way to go, Al Millar.
Yeah. No, definitely. Yeah, you can't argue with that return at all. And like you said, a list guy out of the States, right? I remember when John said he's like, he's playing midget AAA there, but that's not midget AAA here, right?
No.
So he wasn't too sure what he was really getting into. Like, he really relied on the scouts, and he turned out, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He kind of had ups and downs, and he got the vibe this year, or this last little bit, and he was just rolling and getting the points.
Yeah, 10 straight here.
10 straight, yeah.
Yeah, after he had a four zeros in a row there before that, but
and then he caught fire at the right time, and it turned into Bukowski and some picks. So
a couple picks, yep.
And Bukowski made his debut with the Pats on New Year's Day. Literally flew into town the night before, got here, came to the rink, and played. And I think he played pretty well for what they expected of him, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Can't really judge him by no practice.
Playing with, obviously he's going to play with a new guy no matter what, but playing him with the other new guy in Gibson.
Yeah.
So might as well put the two new guys together. They can figure it out and keep your other guys together.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's something to look forward to, right? Like, yeah, Miller said he still want to try to make the playoffs, but you got to look at the big picture as well. And hopefully these young guys,
if they can't make the playoffs, play spoiler.
Yeah.
Try to screw it up for the teams ahead of them.
Yeah.
Take as many points as they possibly can, and hey, maybe they'll sneak in.
Yeah, it's not like they're out of it right now.
No, they're only a handful of points out, so
they just got to get some wins.
Yeah.
Overtime losses, it's 1 point, but you need two. Because you're not far behind. You're only 4 back of Prince Albert, right?
Yeah.
So, but so I mean that was a busy day. Like,
I was blown away. I still am. I was just thinking about the trades. I was like, I don't know, would this have happened had Al not been here? These deals, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think he's coming in here to put his stamp on the team, and
he's doing just that.
He wants to build a team, right? He looked at the lack of draft capital, and he mentions that he's like, when you can't trade for 15s and 16s that are signed, it's hard to just trade and pick up 17s and 18s, right? It's kind of hard to fit them into a rebuild, right? So you gather those draft picks, and you can trade those easier, right? It's easier to move picks for a complementary piece. Like you want to build through the draft and have that kind of Portland mold where they're not bringing in guys unless they absolutely need a piece at the trade deadline, right? Like Portland didn't have a player on their roster that played on another team's roster last year at all. They brought in their own guys. They brought in guys that weren't playing in the league, but I mean, it is easy for Portland to recruit, but that's another story in its own. But that's kind of how you want to build it. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, you build the team within, and then you can keep these guys together for 3-4 years, and then add a piece here or there with your picks that you've accumulated, right? So.
Yeah. Exactly.
But we'll see how it goes. I mean, he's full in now, right? And like we said, we like his passion.
That was unbelievable. And like those 3 trades, they brought in Ty Gibson. Just count: Ty Gibson, Zach Moore, Samuel Barczyk, Dayton Deschamps, the prospect, Tyson Bukowski, a 4th rounder via PG in 2024, a second from Red Deer via Everett in 2025. So that's how that trade worked.
Okay, so that's a Red Deer pick then.
Yeah,
not an Everett pick.
No, the one from the 4th rounder from Saskatoon is via Red Deer, 2025. The 1st rounder in 2026 is also the one from Saskatoon. The Suzdalev one is from Red Deer originally, so that's a Red Deer pick. A 3rd in 2026 and a 3rd in 2026 from PG and Saskatoon. So what's that? 11 pieces.
Yeah.
For Parker Berg, Suzdalev, Vallis,
7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for 3.
And a 6th rounder, because we traded a 6th rounder with the Suzdalev in the Suzdalev trade.
Oh yeah.
So
okay.
11 pieces for 4 pieces. And they were all decent picks. Like there was no 7th rounders or anything like that. They're all
exactly.
4 rounds.
4 rounds.
1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
No.
If people complain, they're dumb. I'm sorry.
I mean,
because you see social media people complaining about all these other trades. It's like, oh, they blew another trade. They blew this, blah, blah, blah. Like, this is how you do a rebuild. You you got to get rid of your assets to bring in assets for the future assets. And
Exactly,
I think Al's doing it right. I'm super happy. I've been a Pats fan for a very long time, and I don't think I've ever actually seen a full out rebuild like this.
Never tear it down, right?
No, not right down to the studs. Well, they still have a few pieces for next year, like Howe and Whitehead and Spencer. Like,
there's still some talent there. It's not like they've gotten rid of everything.
They haven't blown it right to smithereens, but they're doing it the right way.
Yeah,
I think Al's doing it the right way.
John did a good job when he first got here. The same kind of idea. He did kind of tear it down. He moved some guys, and then that kind of built it up. But then I think it really kind of struggled at the end.
It peaked. It almost like it peaked there. Then the Henry and Lucian trade that helped them a little bit more. But then getting Connor Bedard was awesome for the Pats, but a kind of a curse in a rebuild.
Yes, it just delayed this rebuild after the World Cup.
It delayed the inevitable kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
so
and
I loved having Connor here, but man,
without question,
just how John didn't have much left to really build around him, and choosing not to trade him, which I'm selfishly glad they didn't, because it was nice to see him finish up as a Pat, packing buildings everywhere, and he's packing buildings in NHL still, still already, not still. He's still packing buildings, but in the NHL.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, and John didn't want to commit to like just going all in with him, like, which I kind of commend him with that, because then that would have really put this team here this year in a deep dark hole, and then it would have been nothing. You would have had nothing.
There wasn't really much to go all in with.
Yeah.
So
I mean, you would have to just unload the draft picks, right? Because you didn't want to give up anything really off your roster.
But there wasn't tons of draft
there
picks
wasn't
there to
tons.
get rid of. So
it's not like they were Wenatchee or Seattle with nothing, but they did have some stuff. But I kind of commend him not just sewering these next few years of just selling every single draft pick for whoever they could get. So
yeah, that's true.
Because he could have done that and just really, I'm leaving, because I'm pretty sure he knew he was pretty much done, and he could have just said, "See you later. I'm out of
too
here."
bad, so sad. This is for the next guy,
right? So as much as we all would have liked to see this team go a little further with him, he almost carried.
They were close.
I know. If they could have got past Saskatoon, that would have been nice.
They probably would have got smoked in the next round anyway. But it would have been nice to get the
to get 2 rounds.
Games.
Yeah,
to get the extra couple games at home.
Just to get a serious win.
Had Vallis been healthy,
it
might have been the tide turner. So
yeah, he's a guy that would have scored a few goals in the playoffs, right? Like, that's tough, but it is what it is. And
I'm like I said, I'm really after seeing Al Millar's fire on Monday, I wanted to run through a wall for him. So yeah, I'm really happy he's doing what he's doing right now. I applaud him for all the deals, what he got for what he got.
Yeah.
And as a 40+ year Pats fan, I'm glad he's doing it right. And the team is actually working hard still. Maybe they'll surprise a few people yet.
Yeah, like they did out of the gate, right? Maybe some new guys here. They're obviously looking to impress as well, right? So maybe they can bring some of that to the team, some more energy even, right?
They have proved they can play.
Yeah, they can play with anybody if they really put their mind to it.
Yeah. And in reality, what they really didn't, they got rid of two main key pieces. But these younger guys, or these other guys like Ty Spencer and Orempa, they're finally, like we've said, they're finally playing up a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe you get Orempa and Spencer continuing on playing well, and a healthy Whitehead playing well. Maybe it'll elevate them back up. Yeah, maybe get them all going. Give Howe some help on the get more offense from different guys. It'll be nice.
Yeah. Definitely. So, I don't know what else you got. That's kind of our pre-trade deadline special, I guess. Like you said, we might not have much of a trade deadline show, but
it's probably one of the bigger pre-trade deadlines the Pats have had in a very, very long time. So
actually, yeah, like Keith Hirschmiller, he kind of mentioned that. He's like, man, have they moved this many pieces? Obviously not recently. And I said, well, maybe 17, 18.
I never really looked that close.
But
Keith, when you listen to this, I will look through and I'll find you some.
Yeah.
I'll find you some numbers.
I was gonna go back and look at all the trades that they made that year and kind of from the Cale Fleury deal on. That was kind of like the first big piece, and then I mean that wasn't at the trade deadline. That was in like November, but that was like the start of it for that team.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna do that as well. Just go back and just kind of count up the pieces.
But
and there.
I'm gonna go way back. So
okay.
I'm gonna go way back.
All right.
So we'll talk about that on the next episode. So Keith, make sure you listen to the next episode. Well, maybe the next episode once the deadline is done.
Yeah.
We'll have some numbers for you. We'll talk trades.
Yeah. Well, if you don't have much else, we should wrap it up.
Maybe more trades.
Yeah. So kind of gone a little longer with some trade talk, but it's good. Something new, exciting. You know,
it was exciting. It was
hope
unbelievable.
Springs eternal, right?
Exactly, 100%.
So, but yeah, but with that, we should get out of here. If you got nothing else,
I'm good to go.
All right. Well, see you at the rink. Oh, we didn't really even talk about the two games coming up, but Saskatoon and Victoria.
Friday, Saturday, Saskatoon and Victoria. Two teams, one top of the conference, and other one is starting to really, really fly. Victoria, they're
finally found their groove.
They got James Patrick in charge, and it seems like that the corner has been turned, and they're actually doing really well.
Yeah, 23-13, 0-2, fourth place. Well, tied for third actually with Portland.
Yes,
in the Western Conference.
And they were like second last or third last or something, and then they made the change, and now look where they're at. So
and they made the big trade with Moose Jaw. They moved those two older guys, and it hasn't affected them whatsoever, right? Like,
it's given other guys a chance to shine. So
yeah,
well,
that was the big deal at the start of the year, right?
Yeah, and now with the Pats moving Vallis and Berg, maybe this will give the other guys a chance to shine. So
yeah,
we're hoping it does.
Definitely. Yeah. So yeah, Victoria and Saskatoon in this weekend. So a new team. I haven't seen Victoria in a while, obviously. And so lots of home games this month. Friday, Saturday, 3 weeks straight at home. So it's a busy weekends here coming up.
Oh,
yes. With that, we should get out of here. So have a good night, folks.
Take her easy.